Hey, how's it going, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? How's the audio sound? Is the music kind of making some weird noises here and there? Getting some weird. I got a new audio setup. I'm hearing some weird stuff, and I just want to make sure you guys are hearing it or not hearing it. Anyway, I see lots of familiar faces here in the chat. Hope everybody's doing well on this Monday night. You guys just waiting for the chat to catch up, so I know you guys can hear me okay. Like I said, I bought a new audio setup. I got a whole mixing board and this whole setup now, and I'm still trying to learn how to use it. Audio's perfect. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and switch things here. Go to my webcam and my other title card here that some people seem to not like. Turn the music down a little tiny bit. Okey-doke. There we go. I don't know if I could adjust it any finer than that. It's down to 5 in Windows Media Player. All right. So I haven't decided exactly what I want to do tonight. We got two options that I was thinking. We can either run a P&B session, or we can do a little work on the debev, or we can do maybe a little bit of both. I've got about, let's see, it's almost 7 o'clock right now. I've got until about 8:30-ish, between 8:30 and 9. So whatever we can kind of squeeze in there. But I'm just kind of curious what you guys are into, because I'm not really sure what I want to do. Just gonna keep my eye on the chat here. Show of hands in the chat. Who has the P&B route? And P&B route and the sessions. Switching. Well, I got a mix. It's always a mix. There's never like a fine line. It's never overwhelmingly like, yes, let's run trains, or let's. Oh, now it's starting to fill. Now the chat is populating. P&B. So I'll tell you what. Let's we can start off a little bit with the debev. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I kind of really do want to run a P&B session, because I haven't done anything on that like pretty much since it's been released. So let's I'm going to jump into the debev just for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes and kind of go over some of the stuff that I've been doing off camera, and then we'll switch over to the P&B. Let me load it up before I switch over. That way I don't before I switch the camera. That way I don't give away any spoilers or anything. That'd be very bad. People from all over. I see Kentucky. I saw somebody from Australia earlier. We had Nebraska. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. It's Monday night. It is my birthday. That's the secret. That's why I'm streaming on a Monday night. But I don't have anybody else to hang out with, so I figured I'd hang out with you guys and run some trains and do some fun stuff. So I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday. Let me get out of this area because these are spoilers, and then I'll switch the camera over. The last thing I want to do is load up what I've been working on, and give away everything that is going to be in Friday's video. Because then you won't watch it. All right, what am I trying to do here? I gotta switch these things. There we go. Now I can read the chat a little bit better. I had my chat like way off to the side. Now I can actually see it. Oh, thank you guys for the happy birthday. I definitely didn't just decide to stream to just hear people say happy birthday to me. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining me. So Of course, my phone, as soon as I start streaming, is gonna start going crazy. So hopefully there's not any lag issues or anything like that. I am hardwired at this point, so we'll see how that goes. I'm just kind of peeking over at the chat. Oh, by the way, so the mouse cursor issue, I don't really see it on the screen over there. I'm still having kind of like a weird issue where the OBS is seeing the 4K game, or the game in 4K, but it's scaling it down to 1080p or 1920 by 1080, and it's making the mouse cursor not line up. So just so you guys know, the mouse cursor that you see on the screen is not matching what I'm actually doing, and that kind of makes it a little bit difficult to do building, but we'll just try to make do with it. So I do apologize. I was messing with it earlier, and I haven't been able to figure out exactly what the issue is there. Well, I guess I might as well firstly address the elephant in the room here, and that's this guy, which I don't think I've showed off at all. This is on the locked session, isn't it? So this is sort of the experimental paint scheme for the DBev. So Sean from the back shops, he sort of developed this paint scheme. He did it on a GP38, and I've been trying to adapt it for a GP7. I'm not sure if I'm totally, or is this a GP9? If I'm totally sold on it, this is a GP9. But I do like it, and obviously it's not finished. I don't even have the other side done. But I've been kind of messing around with that a little bit here and there. I think it's kind of cool, but I also really like what I've got going on with this guy here, this X Penn Central RS unit, which is what, a 3 or a 1? RS1. So I really, really like this sort of look with these old, this super old weathered unit. Like, I kind of like the picture, and I think one of you guys had mentioned it in a comment on one of the DBev videos, that it's almost like Penn Central or Conrail like accidentally landlocked this locomotive maybe on like one of these sidings when the line was sort of abandoned. So I kind of like that idea, and I might be running with it and just sort of like painting over the edge a little tiny bit, and kind of have a similar vision to go with this unit here. But that's going to be kind of the that is going to be the roster is going to be the RS1, this SW1500, and GP9. Maybe I might have to add another unit. I don't know. It really depends on how vicious that grade is going to be going out to the quarry. So we'll see how that goes. But other stuff that I've been doing off camera, I've been trying to expand the city a little bit. Stuff that I'm doing off camera that I'm not really talking about on camera is kind of like how I begin to lay out these city blocks. I do use the road splines, even though I'm not gonna like keep them, but it is a really good way for me to begin to outline where things are gonna go. Otherwise, it's kind of like willy-nilly putting buildings down, and I don't know, it's tough to visualize. So I like the idea of using the splines first and then removing them. So let's see, what else can I kind of go over here? But yeah, I really like the look of these roads, the way that they've been coming out, like these scenes. It's hard to get in my videos sometimes when I just don't have a whole lot of time to really zip around and stuff like that. But I think once I get some traffic on these roads, it's really going to come together pretty nicely. And I've been kind of hiding the road markings, the traffic. So I do have it laid down, but for whatever reason, I guess when the layer is invisible, so is the traffic. But basically, that's the idea there, is laying down the traffic separately. This traffic, I think, only goes in one direction, so I'll lay down another invisible road to take traffic in the other direction. The real challenge is going to be trying to connect this up to traffic stoppers, and then the whole like Atlas system to actually get it to stop, to get the traffic to stop and start when the traffic lights change. I kind of have an idea of doing that, and that's something I do want to work out during a live stream, but I don't know if I want to work that out during this live stream, just because it's going to take a lot of thinking power, and I'm not in the thinking mood right now. I kind of want to just kind of relax and have some fun. But yeah, I can't wait to finally actually start populating this road with some cars, traffic on the side of the roads, parked cars, more signs and stuff like that, because it's definitely going to look really cool once you start getting some traffic and then start running some trains through here. The big downfall, the biggest downfall I think with this route is the fact that it runs east to west. So you're only going to be able to ever really take good screenshots from a couple of angles because of the way that the sun is. So it's always going to be in shadows or it's always going to be in the light. So for example, if I just go and change the light, you'll see that the shadows are always facing this side, no matter what time of day it is. I wish there was a way to actually move the position of the sun, like, you know, change where it is in this game, but I think it's kind of locked. Have I checked out our mods? AC44 is negative. I don't really get too into the modern. I'm not really into that modern stuff. So I have not. I'm sure that they look pretty good, but not totally up my alley. Although I don't want to give away anything too much, but I am working on something under the cover of night that's a little bit more modern. But that's not a project that you guys are going to see anything of for probably several months. It's something that I'm kind of working on off camera a little bit right now, but just keeping myself occupied and inspired in between doing stuff here. So I'm trying to think, maybe we can do a little bit of work. Trying to think of what we could do. One thing that I haven't decided what to do with this route is if I want to continue the mainline track a little bit further. Instead of like just having it spawn out of a portal over here, it might be kind of cool to model a little bit more of the main line and maybe go into like a main yard nearby or something like that. But man, like I've just got my work cut out for me with this city, and I'm trying so hard not to reuse the same buildings over and over again, even though that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to add some variety in there, but man, the asset database is just can be very limiting sometimes. It's just tough to find the right structures that you need when you need them and for the right places and at the right sort of I don't know if I want to say resolution, but that's the word I think I want to use is resolution. Yeah, so that's that. I could probably... The other thing also I'm trying to decide is how deep to make this cityscape. So the way that I'm going about building something like this, I'm taking a very different approach to building, as I've said before, than I think most Trainz players will when they're building. And I kind of go around and try to find these scenes that I want to make, or these sort of like, I guess, scenes that I have in my head that I want to bring together. So I'll fly to like an area like this, and I'm looking down this road and I'm trying to picture what kind of stuff to put down here. Like, what do I want the background of this scene to look like? And then I start roughing it in. So I've got like a old car dealership or a muffler service or whatever this is here, Firestone tire place. And I think what I'm going to try to do is just disperse the like medium industrial stuff a little bit and start mixing in some commercial stuff. Like here's an example here. Look down my favorite little intersection here, and I'm just trying to picture in my head like what's gonna make the rest of the scene kind of come together. What's gonna how's it gonna look right? You know, what's the background gotta look like? I don't want it to just go off into the trees like every other map that's out there, because that just seems like an incompleted scene to me. And I want something that feels like it's got depth to it, and perhaps that's a little bit over the top, but that's just my style of playing. So I've been kind of like roughing some stuff in down here as well, just slapping down some of these roads and just putting down some buildings. I wish we had some good corner style buildings. I don't know if you guys know of any over in the chat. If you know of anything, tag me and shoot me the KUID. That way I can maybe get like a cool corner building in here instead of using these JR buildings over and over again. Ideally, I would love to try to reskin one of these, but I honestly, something as complex as this, I wouldn't really know where to start. I guess I haven't looked at the texture file, so I don't really know. Like maybe it's not as bad as I think. But it just seems like there's quite a lot. And some of these buildings look a little older and beat up than I really would like this one in particular. Like, it'd be nice to have a less beat up version of it. And I'm pointing with my mouse, totally forgetting that you guys can't see what I'm pointing at because the mouse doesn't line up properly. Sorry about that. Let's look at the chat here. Any plans for new abandoned spurs or landlocked rolling stock that is not recoverable? Yeah, possibly. I don't have any plans specifically, but I did want to model the abandoned section of track a little bit further, maybe like another baseboard or two. So there's definitely some room for that. Bisquickelhausen, what's up, dude? Welcome. Sorry, I'm getting text messages too. All right. So yeah, there's definitely some potential to put some more landlocked equipment, maybe a couple of box cars on a spur, maybe down a little ways would be kind of cool. But again, I keep encountering this sort of conundrum with myself where I'm trying to decide who am I building for, you know? And it's just this fight that I'm having with myself is, am I building for me and for YouTube videos, or am I building to create a route to release and for other people? And, you know, sometimes like the amount of detail that I want to put into something might not be easy for anybody to run themselves if you don't have a computer like mine. So I don't know. It's a real conundrum for me. City Skylines, yes, that is on my to-do list. I want so badly to do a City Skylines series, but I need to, I don't know. I got to figure out like what I'm doing. City Skylines is like, they're like tapping me on the shoulder, like calling my name, and I want to play so bad, but oh man, it's, I just have my hands full with this one. Anyway, so what can we do here? For a little bit, man, it's getting hot in this room already. Let me open my door behind me a little bit. Hold on one second. I think I got the heat turned on. I've got a heating pad on my back because I have a pinched nerve in my back and it's killing me. In this little tiny room with my computer heating it up, it just gets very, very hot in here. All right, let's see. Did I reskin the black Alco switcher myself? Yeah, so this model was based on... Oh, man. It was a JR... I could probably search the original one. I think I did the Utah belt model. Yeah, so that's the model. So I took that and I blanked it, and then I reskinned it. I actually skinned it into Penn Central first. I figured I might as well do a Penn Central like base unit. And then that's something that maybe, I don't know if anybody has any interest in this, or if I did it well enough to sell it on JR. I really have no idea, which would be kind of cool. But I haven't even pushed that because I'm sure there's something wrong with it, since I don't know. I worked off of photos, but I'm not an expert on locomotives, and it takes me a really long time to reskin something, so I really don't know if there's any problems with it or not. But so then I took that Penn Central locomotive and I duplicated it, and then I just weathered the heck out of it. And why am I not? Oh, it's on this layer, that's why. So I just duplicated it and threw some graffiti on there, a whole bunch of rust, and I faded the logos on the front and the sides. Just put layer upon layer of stuff on there. I like the way that this looks personally. It kind of looks like the paint came off from like an engine overheating or something like that. And then the side panel here looks pretty cool too. Same thing, like these kind of streaky things. Let's see, let me relock. Oh, I gotta delete this one. No. Delete that. So, if you don't know, I work within the session layer, and I just started doing this for this map. I should have done it with the PNB, because as it turns out, when you work within the session layer, only certain things are saved within the session layer, like your environmental settings, and I think like some scripting things, like certain gates and stuff like that, only will be saved in the session layer. So what you should do is work within the session and keep it locked. Like if you're even if you're working on the route layer, have the session layer and always have like a base session that you're working within, and save both, and then use that as sort of your base. But I thought that was something interesting. Little pro tip, I guess. Pro tip. Oh, no, I can't move that. Whatever, we're gonna leave it. Just peeking over at the chat there. Keep seeing our viewers jump between 84 and like 90 something. Pretty good audience so far. I mean, you guys are great. I'm trying to think of how much I can show you before I get into what I was working on for Friday's episode. But this whole area, everything needs to be expanded out. Let me like zoom out. I don't think I'm gonna go any wider than the amount of tiles that I have here, and it's kind of narrow, I guess. It's only 3 tiles, but you know, I think it's wide enough for me. You know, if we're in a valley, so I think if I bring up the ridge on the sides enough, you won't see the edge, and I think, you know, that's good enough for me. I think that should be fine. We could fly down this way. I haven't really done much in here at all, and I don't know what this is about. Every time I load up this game, there's like new like texturing across to the tiles, and I really have no idea. That's obviously a Trainz bug or Trainz issue of some kind, but it seems to be ongoing. It's not like a one-time thing where like I loaded it up and suddenly all that stuff was there. It's like every time I loaded up, tiles that weren't affected before are now affected. So let's see. Just gonna kind of zip around a little tiny bit, and then I think we'll switch over to the P&B and actually do some operation, because that's what I'm feeling. I'm kind of feeling like doing a little operating. I'm thinking maybe we'll run the Vonny local, right? Yeah, the Vonny local. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah, so I'm thinking I'm gonna expand out this way a little tiny bit, bring up the ridge on the sides here, to make this more of a valley, and then start to kind of bring in some residential neighborhoods around the edges, and probably the same thing over here. Might get a little bit more sort of countryside a little bit quicker. The thing is, I don't want to populate this area with too many assets, because it's definitely going to start lagging. Like, I've noticed my frame rate already dipping in some places. So 44 Willies is looking for the walls. You'll get them on Friday. Actually, that's a good segue. That's a good segue for my Patreon commercial here. If you become a patron, you can watch Friday's video as soon as tomorrow night. So patrons, I think I have 3 in that tier right now. 2 or 3 in that tier. So as soon as tomorrow night, you guys will be able to watch Friday's episodes. That's one of the benefits of the $10 tier. That's the only plug I'm gonna give on that. Maybe not the only one, but all right. So what I'm gonna do is briefly switch my cards, and then we're gonna go into the P&B. I just have to find the right card. There we go. I just don't want to, if I go to my menu, I'm gonna give everything away. Not everything, but you'll see some of the other stuff that I'm working on. What are we gonna do here? We're gonna do P&B. I have so many copies of the P&B. I think it's this one. View sessions. Okay, so we're gonna switch back. Okay. So let's see. We're gonna do the Vonny local, and hopefully my rail driver still works. We'll find out. Let's see. I have crap on my desk here too, which is gonna make this difficult. Just throw it on the floor. It's all these model railroad magazines that keep piling up. All right, let's see. Get the rail driver. Big old thing over here. And hope that it works. Wow, I am getting framey. This is definitely a laggy entrance here. Let's hide that. I think it's probably because I have my settings turned up way high and I'm trying to stream and do all the things all at the same time. Let's turn this down just a little tiny bit. Hey, my brother's here. He says, wish me a happy birthday. The music we were listening to is all from Epidemic Sound, so it's the music that I use for all of my videos and my streams and everything like that. All right, so I'm just kind of peeking over at the chat for a minute there. All right, let's see. All right, I gotta read. It's been so long since I've done this session that I don't even remember what to do. Let's make sure this thing works first. Okay. It moved. That's a good starter. All right, let's see. You receive a limited number of navigating instructions along the way, so read everything carefully. So for those of you who don't have the payware pack for the P&B, you get these beautiful engines here, and you get this awesome operating session that we're about to run. All right, let's see. Good. Train has already been assembled by this morning's switching crew, so head over to yard track 2 and couple up to the consist there. Okay, great. And that should give me a little pop-up. I don't hear, you know what? I don't hear anything. It's because I have the sound off. Let's try 20%. Ooh, it's so loud. We're gonna go down to 10. All right, let's see if we can do this. Ooh, man, it's been a while. I literally haven't done anything in this map since I released it. Well, I thank you for the happy birthday wishes, everyone. I appreciate it. Last time I saw the P&B on live stream, Chris was ramming trains into each other. That's funny. Sure, our switches are aligned. How's the train noise? Train noises. It's at 10%. If it's too loud, I can turn it down. I'm gonna turn this down though a little bit. No, I'm not gonna restart the game for that. Sound, you want it up 20%? It might be a little much, but let's see if I can complete my own session. All right, everybody, sounds good. Sounds good. Good. Bell. I wasn't sure if the bell worked on this controller. Now I have to remember that the throttle on this thing is still screwed up, so the dynamic brake will kick in rather quickly. So by the way, this is the most difficult operating session of the 3 or 4 that I made. So if you're looking for a real challenge, this is the one. And in fact, it might be challenging enough that I can't finish it. But we'll see. How does an Eastern Iowa map sound? I don't know. I don't know anything about Eastern Iowa, so it doesn't sound Doesn't sound particularly appealing. Man, there's so much that's already like out of date on this map. So many things that I wish I could fix and replace, but you know, it is what it is. I've seen some screenshots. Some people have got it running in Trainz 19, and it looks all right in some areas, but I don't know. These grasses are just not, they're not going to work in 19. Just not at all. I do want to do a build for 19. I'm like kind of anxious to just do like almost anything. I just want to just do something, but just to try it. Because I really, aside from that live stream, I don't even think I've opened it. The PNB is kind of set in modern day, I guess. It's either, it could be modern day or the 90s. I sort of had like the 90s in my mind when I was building it, so. But it's built ambiguously enough, I guess, that you can kind of run, you can get away with anything from probably the 70s up and through modern day. There's not a whole lot that gives it away one way or the other. I got the brake on. Really, it was supposed to be a fledgling short line sort of thing, and I ended up overbuilding it. So it's got a little bit of a bulkier feel to it, but I don't know. I think pretty much anything, almost everything can fit right at home on it. Like I've seen some screenshots of CSX and Union Pacific, Southern Pacific might look a lot of ways, but anything like that looks really good. Conrail. Some people, actually, I've been seeing a lot of people running Steam on it, and that's fine too. People think that I don't like Steam, but I think that that's kind of cool, and it looks right at home. Would I do another interurban? I might consider doing another interurban, but man, the D&T was a real challenge, man. All right, pull up to the signal and await clearance to take the main. The D&T was really, really challenging to do just because of the assets that I had to use and the assets that are available, so on and so forth. I can talk all day about assets that, you know. But it would be cool. I kind of had higher hopes for the D&T, to be honest with you, but truth be told, about halfway through it, I was completely burned out by it. I really was getting spent towards the end. And I shot that whole series in a very short amount of time. That was the fastest that I ever did anything. I think I shot that series. I shot all 8 episodes in 2 weekends, I think, maybe 3 weekends, and then like a couple of like mornings. I banged that thing out pretty quick, and maybe that was part of the problem, was that I was just so like laser focused on getting it done that there was a point where I was just trying to get it done. I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. And JP Vlogs, what's up, dude? Welcome. I'm sure you've probably been here for a little bit and I didn't notice. Do I think JR will ever release the model railroad they did for the 12 Days of Christmas? They did. That was released. It was, they released like everything, didn't they? A couple back in the summertime. It was a big running joke because it took 6 months to actually get it out. But they released all of it. I think everything that was released with the 12 days, they put in like one big packaged thing and released it all at once. I think. Could be wrong. Do I have a caboose on here? There's supposed to be a caboose. Okay. I love this caboose, man. I was so happy to do this. I don't know why. It just really, really pleased me. Why does the P&B paint scheme look like the Milwaukee? It just sort of is a coincidence. Bill M., the original P&B master maker, he sent me some photos that happened to have some engines that were kind of some switchers that were on the original prototype, and they happened to be in that color, but it was also kind of coincidental because one of you guys sent me a photo with a paint scheme that you had come up with, and excuse me, paint scheme that they had come up with, and it was in a Milwaukee looking shoe, and I just loved it. I thought it looked really great. And then whereas Prada made these GP7s, GP9s for me, which we unboxed very gloriously during live stream, which just was amazing. And then Justin made me the GP38-2s, and then I did the other ones. I did everything else. Come on, how close I gotta get to this stupid signal? That's gotta be close enough, come on. So I think I have it set that you have to stop, and then you actually have to come to a full stop. All right, now while we wait for this other train to pass, let me get no good vantage point. We gotta wait for an opposing train to go by. Oh, maybe not. I thought there was a train that I had to wait for. I guess, maybe I should double check that. No, there's nothing coming. Fascinating. Okay. See? It's been that long. Thanks for the birthday wishes, my friends. I'm just peeking at the chat while we wind up here. But yeah, I definitely have plans for more locos and rolling stock and things like that going forward. So once I get into the next section, whenever that's going to be, hopefully it doesn't take me an eternity to get started on that. But the next section from Allegheny, probably to Grafton, I definitely plan on doing some more custom rolling stock and locomotives and stuff like that. Modern P&B pack. That could be interesting. Maybe that could be something I could do. Because I'd like to do like a handful of other switchers. Like I made the Allegheny Steel, that little like 44-tonner looking switcher, the little center cab, specifically for Allegheny Steel. So I'd like to do some more stuff like that because there's a couple other industries that could probably benefit from just having their own switcher. And I think that's something that I could do, and it keeps like an interesting variety of equipment on the map. It keeps me interested too, and keep you guys interested. So maybe like a modern pack would be really cool too. I mean, there's no limit. Like we can kind of we could do whatever we want. It's a fictional route. Just keeping up with the chat here. 103 watching. Woo! Viewer count is good tonight. There was something else I was gonna say too. I forgot what it was. Yeah, some other like cabooses. I don't know what other freight cars I would want to do. Because I like the coal cars. There's a lot of coal that gets moved around on the P&B. But maybe some I don't want to say logging cars because that's already been done with Eagle River, and I'm not gonna like step on Scratchy's toes with that one. But maybe some like not pulpwood. What am I trying to say? Wood chip cars, because there is a pretty big paper industry just outside of Allegheny, so that could be kind of interesting. I don't know. Generally, I'll probably just take feedback from what you guys would like to see, and go from there. I don't want to say I base a lot on what you guys have to say, but to me, like, this hobby is kind of a community sort of thing, so I like getting you guys involved. P&B bay window caboose would be pretty cool. Coil gondolas would be good as well, except we just don't have any good models right now, so somebody's got to make some new models. There's been talk at JR about doing some new coil car models, but I don't think anybody's starting on them or anything like that, so maybe someday we'll see that, and that would be pretty cool. The next episode of the P&B is not going to be for a while. I gotta finish the Dry Brook route first, and then maybe I could start getting back into the P&B stuff. Probably won't be until beginning of 2019, because I still need to figure out exactly what the next like sections are going to be that I'm going to work on. I really don't know how I'm going to lay it out. Like, I know what I have to build and what you know should be done, but yeah, I don't know when work is going to begin again. And then, you know, by the time that happens, I'm probably going to have to go back through this whole area and redo it. And there's a lot of stuff that I wish I had done a little bit differently. Like, this whole section is... I wish I picked a different color palette. Like, this is like early spring, so it's bright green. And for a while I liked it, but now I'm just kind of over it because it looks very dated to me. Like, I don't want to like point out all the flaws of this map because I really do love it, but... you know, it does feel a little dated being, what am I trying to do here? I did start it back in like Trainz 2010, so it's gone through a lot of iterations, and a lot of the assets kind of stuck to be the same because it's just easier, but easier to keep them. But maybe I could try the bulk replace tool at some point and just replace all the trees. I'd have to find like a new palette of trees, a new palette of textures, and then just kind of see how it all replaces, if it looks good or not. But yeah, oh, we're gonna be speeding here. I'm gonna slow down or pull off the throttle at least. I'm pretty excited to get back into the P&B building, you know, into the actual series again, but like I said, it's going to be a little bit. I've got a lot of other stuff that I got to work on first. I really want to finish the debev, and I was really hoping to have it done by by Christmas, the holidays, and it's not looking very promising. So, yeah, that's that. What are my thoughts on using procedural track assets? You know, if I'm into it, because I like the idea of the frogs being part of the track and the points, the switch points actually moving and stuff like that, but I just don't know if Trainz is quite there yet, because every procedural track that I've ever tried to use ends up looking like a whole bunch of polygons the second I like move away from it, or you know, I try to make like a nice gentle bend and it turns into a 90-degree angle, and I just don't like it. And it's, no matter what I do, what kind of settings I put the scenery settings to, or track settings, or anything like that, it never seems to work out well. It's only good if you're like right up close onto it. And I tend to play the game, and you guys know, we watch my videos, I play the game from up high, almost like from SimCity perspective. So, you know, if I'm kind of far away and the track is turning into polygons, then that kind of kills it for me. So I would love to use it. I used it in a couple of builds, I think build challenge builds, because they were pretty small. But you know, other than that, I would like to see it. I would like to see it work though, because I think it definitely adds another layer of realism to your maps. The same thing. I see you got a question about the doing seasonal routes. Same thing there. It's like, I think once everything is up to that sort of standard and has, you know, all the trees have actual seasonal options and the grasses and the ground textures, but right now it's just so willy-nilly. I think it's too difficult to actually pull together like a working palette of assets, textures, trees, and all that kind of thing that'll actually hold together and actually work in as a transitional sort of thing. And N3V is really pushing that, and I think that's great. I think that they should, because that's the only way to really get people to you know, jump on the wagon. But I think that also has a long way to go, and some of that is going to come down on asset creators at some point. I think that they're going to have to start cooking up some new assets instead of just rebuilding old ones. Not to put any pressure on asset creators and stuff, but you know, that puts pressure on route builders like me too to start using that sort of thing. So I don't know, it goes both ways. I think we get a speed limit change through here too, so I'm gonna ease off the throttle a little bit. I'm not the world's greatest engineer, but I'm gonna do my best. Luckily, there's not like a lot of challenging grades on the P&B, or I would never ever get anything done. What kind of horn is on this thing? I have no idea. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know. It's something. We got Wit Simulations here on his cell phone account. What's up, dude? Toomey's assets are pretty good. He's got some nice ground textures, and some of his buildings are pretty good. Some of them are a little low poly for me, but they work for like background stuff. That's a cool shot right there. Bought out power, that would be kind of cool too. Actually doing some more like patched locomotives. I've thought about that. But again, you know, I could probably go on for eternity, like making engines for the P&B in various, almost every era and whatever else. There probably are some things on here that do date it, like these signs. I have no idea if these are more modern or if they're more 80s, you know? I mean, I tried to pick assets that were a little bit more ambiguous while setting the scene settings to be, you know, almost fitting of any time or anything like that for a fledgling short line, air quotes. What I would really like to do, and if you watch my Patreon and channel trailer video, is eventually get into 3D modeling. And I don't know if I could do, I don't think I could ever do engines because I don't know enough about locomotives, but something like a boxcar or some kind of freight cars, or just making like trackside assets and buildings or anything like that, I think I would really like to take a stab at that, because there's a lot of custom buildings that I would love to make. But you know, that again kind of gets into the whole conversation I feel like I always have when I'm live streaming, is like, what do you divide your time into? Do I divide more time into making videos, you know, and detailing routes, doing builds, or do I reskin, or do I learn to do 3D assets? And I don't know. It's tough. I think really what I'm finding is that I'm more of a route builder. I mean, I've always known that I'm a route builder, but in terms of like details and stuff like that, I would rather spend all day, if I had like a full day, I would rather spend all day working on building a route than just, you know, working on one freight car. But working on like assets or something like that would be kind of cool too, like buildings. Oh, those buttons don't work. But it's kind of funny, like just flying through the P&B. If you go through each area, like as my videos progressed, you can see like how my techniques changed and adapted from one thing to the next, and inspiration kind of changed directions a little tiny bit. The horn drowns on my voice. Okay, I'll try not to talk when I'm going on. But it's just, it kind of makes me wonder, like when the whole thing is done one day, eventually, I feel like it almost feels like this is like a real HO scale layout, like in, you know, in my basement, that's like taking a whole lifetime to actually finish. But you know what the difference between beginning and end is going to look like. It's not such a bad thing. I mean, it's good to be able to look back at your work and say, wow, this is where I started and this is where I am now, and you can see the progression. But it's just tough when you're working on a route that's long term, because you're like, oh man, like now everything's out of date. I've been working on this for so long. One thing I wish, I don't know if you noticed the icons here, I made them smaller. There's a thing that you can do in the session editor, where you can reduce the size of that. I wish that was enabled by default, because having those giant turnout indication things is just so obnoxious. It covers the track, it covers everything. Like I almost wish there was a way to completely disable it. And that way you had to actually look at like the flag position or the points or something like that. But I guess that's not possible yet without the procedural track. But that is what it is. This is like one of my favorite areas too. I love this farmland. The way that it came out was just, it just has like a really nice flow to it. It's very organic. And I remember on the original P&B, this was like a late addition that Bill had added to his version, like a really late one. I think it was just all through the woods, and he, if I remember correctly, like cut this area out and put in a little farm. So I wanted to make sure I got that in there. At the end of the stream, if somebody reminds me, I can look in the session and tell you what that rule is for the switch levers. I like down here too. It was pretty cool. Oh, you know what? I could turn my detail and stuff back up. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference, but I kind of notice it. Thanks, Chris, for the $5. Much appreciated. Everybody in the chat, show Wit Simulations some love in the chat for the $5 donation. Thank you so much. Passenger cars, yes, would be an awesome addition as well. I do have, it's kind of funny. I put a passenger station in Allegheny with the intent, or not in Allegheny, at Juniata, with the intention of building one in Allegheny, and I never did. I completely threw out, like, what did I do, like 5 or 6 videos in Allegheny, maybe 7, and I completely forgot to add that stupid station. So I think that's probably going to be one of the first things that I do when I start rebuilding again, is add that station in, because I did kind of picture having some like commuter service on the P&B, going between some of the big cities and maybe even some branch line action with like a little what are they called, like a Bud RDC or like a Doodle Bug or something like that. Oh, that'd be so cool. P&B F units, that was my original intention. If you've been with me long enough, you would have seen my absolutely horrid attempt at reskinning early on when I started doing this whole thing. Don't go back and watch it because it's not worth it. It's terrible. It's awful. Amateur hour. But I'm glad I got better at that. But yeah, F units would be really, really great. And this, I'm being reminded of this now. Originally, this session was supposed to just be the 1 GP7 or 1 GP9, I can't remember. But I started running it, and I'm trying to like get up this grade, and I realized that one engine wasn't enough to get this train up the grade, so I had to add the second one. Now I've got 2 on here, and we're in throttle notch 8, we're barely making it up to 20 miles an hour. Allegheny, yeah, I wanted to put a station in Allegheny, and I just totally forgot. I got put on the back burner with everything else. I don't really even know where I'm going to put it. I'm going to have to, like, delete something. Yes, we do all have to start somewhere, and it was kind of amazing. The one thing that I was doing wrong, was just, once I learned what that thing was that I was screwing up, it was like, I could see the light. I was like, huh, I know how to reskin now. I was just missing this one stupid thing. And it was just the overlay, the setting for overlay, to get the lines, the proper line, detail lines and all that. Alright, I think we're kind of more than up this grade, so we kind of cut the throttle. How's Mrs. Medium? She's good. She's down in... Oh, you can't hear. She's down in New York City right now. She's still down there. She'll be down there for a bit. Oh no, they're going back up. The gates are going back up. But I don't know why. Alright, well, whatever. Alright, yeah, so here we go. I forgot about this pop-up. Welcome to Vonny. Every industry here needs to be switched out, but it's up to you to decide what order to do the work in. Be forewarned that it can get very crowded here, so make sure you plan your moves accordingly. So let me explain to you the thoughts that I've had behind this. If you've ever played one of the built-in sessions, the N3V built-in sessions, or a lot of the, I'm not really even sure if a lot of the JR sessions are like this, but you get these icons that pop up and it's like couple to this car and then couple to this car and then couple to this car. It's kind of holding your hand, and that's not really how real railroading works. I didn't want you to have to like come in here and switch out everything in a specific sequence. So basically the next operation that you're going to have that shows up here is going to tell you what the rules are in Vonny, and what cars need to get switched out and where to put them. And you can do them in any order you want. And unfortunately, the only downside is that you could pretty much just leave your train here and then leave Vonny without switching anything, and you'd still complete the session. But that's partially because I have absolutely no idea how to properly build a session. Anyway, so this just explains to you exactly where to put what cars and what the rules are here. So while here, please observe the following rules. The Y track is out of service beyond junction 192040. The yard is in no condition to hold the full weight of any locomotive or rolling stock, so do not place anything beyond that junction. You may use the Y to store cars or turn your engine, but you can't go into the yard. Eureka Spur is also out of service beyond Shaw Creek, as indicated by the stop marker, so we can't go past there. And then this is our switch list, so everything can be switched out in whatever order. We hit the check mark, and we continue on. So now, as you'll see, there's no markers indicating what cars need to go where, or you know what order you got to do them in. Just get the work done, just like you're a real conductor. Oh, we gotta. These aren't working either. Huh. Very interesting. Now they go off. I'm gonna have to look at that. I wonder if they're like that across the board, or if that's just my problem. That bell is so loud. Like it's not just a you said not to talk while I'm blowing the horn. Keep messing that up. Now they go off, and then they stopped. So must be an issue with TRC. Yeah, my horn blowing job is not very good because I'm busy talking at the same time. That's what's tough about live streaming, trying to drive a train and do all the things all at once. I love the birds, man. They bring so much atmosphere into the world. All right, so I'm gonna switch this out the way that, if I remember correctly, how to switch it out. So that way, because this is a really challenging switch puzzle, it really is. So if you haven't run this session, spoilers ahead. I suppose there's other ways to switch this out. I had some other people switch it out differently, so there's most definitely different ways to switch this out. What I want to do first is clear the Y with my last car here. Because it's a tight squeeze. And I think that might be enough room to run around my train. So that's going to be the idea here. What I'm going to do first is put the caboose on the Y and forget about it so it's out of the way. Would I be willing to make a real-life CSX route? Possibly. I mean, I'm into it. If I've always been fascinated by the... Let's see if you guys remember this one. Oh, I need to change the reverser. So there's a guy, HO scale modeler. His name is Matt Snell, I believe, and he's got the this HO scale Conrail, New Jersey district sort of thing. Somebody made it in Trainz a few years ago. I think it was Trainz Pro Routes. Obviously, it was before like the model railroads thing was around, and that sort of thing. But I've always been fascinated with that. He didn't model like the Northeast Corridor or anything like that. He modeled like New Jersey Transit and some of the Conrail freight yards that are in Jersey, North Jersey. Can't remember a lot of the specifics. But I always thought that would be a really cool route to model. I mean, even in modern day, with CSX operating over there, CSX Norfolk Southern would be pretty cool. Almost at 4,000. I feel like I've been almost at 4,000 for a long time. Let's get it to 4,000. Yes. Sorry, I'm not one of those like over the top, overly enthusiastic live streamer YouTuber people. That's about as far as I can go. Still 100 people watching though. That's pretty good. Happy to have you guys hanging out on this lovely Monday night. Let's see how much we can get done before I decide I need to go to bed because I'm an old man now. Sean Dean is going to steal my thunder. Today, boys and girls. Mostly boys, though. My viewer base is like 99.1% male. It's kind of funny. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, go check out the back shops. I am I'm not a paid spokesperson or anything like that, but they do have some really nice content, nice new content. So definitely go check them out. That's LTG and Sean Dean are over there just cranking out stuff. Definitely check them out. I would plug Jointed Rail, but you guys already know about Jointed Rail, so. If you go to Jointed Rail, you should buy the Pennsylvania and Berwyn route and content pack. I mean, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love Vonny, man. This is like one of my favorite areas because it's not overly detailed, but it's to me, it's detailed just enough to feel like a place and time. I don't know. It's just kind of special. Come on, are we coupled? There we go. So I'm gonna cut off the. Hopefully we have enough room here. Might have to shove this forward a little tiny bit. Yeah, let me go ahead and push that forward a little tiny bit. Just so we don't clip this. Just so we don't clip that hopper car. I purposely made it so that it was super tight to get your train through here. Still got the knuckle coupler rubber banding issue there that N3V said that they fixed. Ah, man, that caboose just looks so good. I love that. I love this caboose so much. Although the numbers maybe I could have done a little bit of a better job on, but next time. Everything is just rehearsal for the next thing. We are definitely not going to finish our work in Vonny before dark. That is for sure. And I mean dark as in dark in the game. It's already dark here in New York. Got dark at like 4 o'clock. Hate the winter time. All right, let's see. So normally what I do is you can put so there's no, so the sensor for this, assuming it's going to work or not work, has a pretty short trigger distance. So I usually put the caboose all the way over here, because this is the switch that you're not allowed to pass. Because this yard is out of service. It's just supposed to be really beat up. You're not supposed to be using it. I probably could have done a better job expressing that, but you know, whatever. So this is the switch that you're not allowed to cross. So I'm gonna come right up to it, and that's where I'm gonna drop off my caboose. And I just like the idea of this crossing. Personally, just feels like, you know, just this random crossing in a housing development. You know, doesn't see a lot of trains. So if you did see some kind of train movement happening here, it was a really rare sight. You know, behind the baseball game and all that. I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I go for when I'm building. It's not just the way that it looks, it's like how it feels to me. And I think if I go to like right about here, I think that's far enough that when I pull out of the siding here, we should be able to deactivate the crossing here. Louisville and Nashville Railroad Entertainment, what up? Welcome to the stream. You are a new name. I don't think I recognize you. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. 44 wheelies, I broke speed limits and couldn't get back to the yard before dark. Yeah, I really don't think... I actually had the fast clock set up even faster than it is right now. And when I was doing the test session, it was like going into like 11, 12 o'clock at night. By the time I was going back to Juniata, it was like, there's no way I can do that. No, I'm speeding right now. Alright, so I need to plot out what my next moves are, because I can't really remember if I did the... you gotta be careful how you pull things, like what cars you pull first. Because you really only have one track to work with. So, let me look at my switch list here, which is here. So I gotta pull the scrap loads from Horner's and place the empty gondolas there. I gotta pull the empty box cars from Eureka. I gotta pull all these hopper cars are outbound now. Gloucester Brothers has to be pulled, and Iron City does not have any deliveries, but it has 2 empties that need to be pulled. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is grab the gondolas. Which I think is the opposite of what I normally do. I think I usually start with the hoppers, but I'm gonna try something a little different. We'll see how this works. Yeah, see, one thing I learned from the P&B is to make your scenes at least a little bit deeper, so you're not seeing like the back of the other baseboards. But, you know, whatever, it's all learning experience. See, now these gates are going off. I wonder, maybe I have it set the wrong way. One thing I did notice when I was testing the route is if you set the trigger to both directions to like stop and go back up, if you set it to both, it seems to have some issues with that. But when you set it to either front or just rear, it doesn't seem to have as many issues. So maybe it's a scripting problem with that. But I wouldn't know. That's an area of Trainz that I just don't know anything about scripting. But that seems like the most logical explanation. All right, let's get ourselves sort of into position here. The other thing I wish was by default with these switches was the actual like trigger distance. Like I have to go through and manually set these so that, you know, you can basically be on top of the switch and still be able to throw it. And like by default in the game, look at these gates are going back down again. I'm not even aligned for that direction. By default in the game, it's like this enormous, you know, like 30 foot, 40 foot distance. It's totally unrealistic. Wish there was a way to just set that by default to be, you know, 5 feet, I think is what I set mine to. Maybe even less. Because in real life, if you watch trains switch, the conductor a lot of times will have the engineers stop the train like practically right on the points. I love this scene too. As dated as it is at this point with the ground textures that I used and stuff like that, it is laid out quite nicely. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit different than some of the other builds that I did. I wish we had some better snowplows too, because I think these are like a European design or something like that. There's something that's kind of weird about them, and I don't remember what it is. I want to say they had some kind of a European look to them if you get close enough to them. This is the heaviest part of this whole train, I think, is going to be these loaded gondolas here. So now what's cool is that you could take these loaded gondolas, you could take them down to Juniata and switch them onto a train that's going to go to Allegheny, and then switch them out of there and send them to Allegheny Steel, the scrap section. So you can actually have like a closed circuit of freight cars. That was the whole idea with the P&B, is to have this sort of completely or nearly complete closed circuit of car forwarding. I like these garbage trucks too, these waste management ones. Pretty good. Peek at the chat here. 92 people watching. Must be getting late somewhere. I saw in the beginning there was a couple people watching from Australia, and I know that that's got to be like the middle of the night there, like 2, 3 in the morning at least. Maybe even later. What's up, Maz4449? Welcome. You've been streaming for 1 hour and 16 minutes. Next time next time I do a live stream, we'll do more of some build stuff, but I don't know. I was just kind of feeling like hanging out and just doing some operating, because I haven't operated a train in a long time. Probably since the last live stream that I operated a train would have been it, because like I don't usually do this. Like usually if I'm playing the game, I'm building, so it's nice to be able to kind of hang out and then chat with people, so I'm not just kind of staring at a train like, you know, kind of bored. It's nice to be able to have a conversation, even though it's a little one-sided, since all I can do is read your chat, read your text. But take that heating pad off from dying. It's so hot. Yeah, this crossing over here might not ever open again. That might be it. It's just permanently down. Rip. Like this town too, like I like the layout of it and everything, but the assets are clearly very old. Like there's just no detail in these. Like they could be updated, but at the same time, like I was saying earlier when I had the debev opened, there's not a whole lot of assets that are out there right now that can replace these. So this is just kind of what we got until some of the new stuff shows up. And I feel like we have less and less people actually creating assets for this game anymore. Let's see, I bet you the gates go back up before we clear the crossing. Let's see what happens. Still down, still down. Well, I don't think they're going to go back up at all, to be honest with you. Oh, there it goes. It just went up. Great. Good. Will I do reskins for steam locomotives for the P&B? I probably will never do a steam skin, but I've seen other people making them, so I think somebody will. Steam's just not really my thing. I mean, I like it. I think it's amazing, but it's just not really my thing. These gates are screwed up too. It started and then it went off. It's so weird. Really need to get an actual free roaming camera in this game, whether it be... No, I'm not even gonna make any contingencies for it. We need a real free roam camera in this game, like one where you can, that's just not attached to the stupid mouse. Really would love to be able to fly around. Like, I understand that they reserve the WSAD keys for controlling the throttle and stuff like that, but I don't know, there should be an option to like disable that, or I don't know, do something so you can go into a free roam camera, actually be able to get some real 3D flying around shots and that sort of thing. All right, so let's see. So we got those. We need to also pull... this is where things are gonna get complicated. I might have just... Let's keep going. We're gonna have to bring this all the way to the end. Will I do another switching route? Yes, certainly. Those are really great. The switching routes are awesome because I can kind of do them really quick. Not really quick, but relatively speaking, it's not like building an entire map end to end. I can do them relatively quick, and I can detail them really, really well. So I definitely would like to do another one. Which what I end up doing, I don't know. It's tough because I can't just like. I can go like copy a model railroad or something like that, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to be always taking somebody else's design and then making it. I want to actually like design my own. So at some point I would need to like sit down and do some research and try to decide on what the prototype would be and you know, how to sketch out the layout. That's kind of what the DBEV is going to be like a little, you know, it's like a little switching thing. And I totally dreamed that up. I sketched it out in my notebook and kind of brainstormed the whole thing from end to end. But, you know, that was just that's still a pretty big map to be working on. Next live stream on the Dry Brook. Yeah, I think I could probably do that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to be working on that. I'm kind of just biding my time, I guess. Now, this is where we're going to have a problem. Let's stop here for a second. Actually, let's just pause this. All right, so we need to still pull these boxcars. We're going to pull those boxcars. Maybe we should move these to here so I have like a runaround. That might be the best idea. Let's do that. Stop this train. I'm still waiting to see what can be done with Trainz 2019. I think that there's potential there. People didn't like Tane when it came out, and we're all using it. people didn't like Trainz 12 when it came out, and people are still using that, you know? So I think that there's potential there, and I don't know how it's going to look or what it's going to look like to actually bring everything up to standard and stuff, but, you know, I'm also predicting that by the time anybody gets anything even anywhere near up to standard, N3V is going to try to launch another game, and then that's going to screw everything up. So it's just going to be a constant, you know, chasing your own tail. How do I choose rolling stock for my consists? I think I'm pretty bad at building consists, to be honest with you. There's I'm just not very good at it. But normally what I do when I'm building a consist is I look at what industries are nearby, and then I just pick those cars. I usually try to pick the most weathered looking ones that I can find, because I like the way that those look the most. Ooh, bring that stuff back up. But yeah, I mean, really, the P&B is kind of easy because I can look at what industries are where, and I know what kind of freight cars are going to be needed and how many of each. But if you're on like a route that you're not familiar with, I think it can get kind of difficult to pick that out. Yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if N3V comes out with Trainz 20, you know, Trainz whatever, 2020, and Trainz 2019 is not even finished or whatever. I don't know. Not to knock them like that. I know they need money to stay in business, but at the same time, like, the community can't keep playing this game of, like, oh, another new, you know, system. Oh, another new system, and then every asset needs to be updated again. And eventually, we're just not going to have anything because N3V is not making it, and the community won't be able to keep up with actually, like, updating their own assets. So, you know, no, I didn't change my direction. It gets really frustrating. I can see why asset creators just, like, leave the community and go do like anything else. But, you know, the frustration is definitely there. If I think N3V needs to kind of like pick a thing and settle with it. Like, they need to like pick a standard and decide on what that standard is going to be and go forward with it, and screw all this, you know, compatibility stuff that's backdated. You know, trying to bring this content up that's from 2004. Like, forget about that. We need a clean slate, start with a new engine for real, and do this. But, you know, that's definitely never going to happen. But that's just my scenario for saying that if things are going to change, that's the only way to really make it happen, I think. And that's it. Now that I said that, I'm never going to get another feature in their email newsletter. Ah, so close. All right, do we have enough room? I bet you we're going to cut it really, really close. Yes, yes we are. Do we have room down here to push it a little bit further? We do. I don't know how far. I don't know if I need to clear this switch, so I'm not really too worried if I obstruct it a little bit. What I do need, though, is to be clear down here. Can I make that? Let's go a little bit further. Alright, we're gonna call that good. Basically just pushed in the slack there, but whatever. Look at that! Oh my god. Can't believe that this still does that. Actually, yes, okay. close enough? No. Alright, so now I've got enough room that I can put the, switch these hoppers in and get them off the main track here. If this was real life, this would be a pretty cool spot to watch. Watch them switch this yard like right off the side of this road here. At least that's where I would be, I think. So now what we can do is we could, oh, I'm going down the Y. This is why you don't stream and operate trains. Now what we can do is we can take these hoppers, they gotta go on this track. We've got access to the hoppers and the gondolas, and then we can get to the boxcars. This is the P&B. If you're new, you can watch the whole route being built on my channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, Patreon, and all those other things. Peter Tucker 499. How are you doing? Love the P&B. Can't wait for your next route. Thank you so much, Peter Trucker 51051. Appreciate it. Show some love in the chat. Make sure I'm not going to bang into these cars here. So we're gonna switch these guys. What did I just see? Question in the chat there. Would I do any Railfanning videos? I had intended. What am I doing here? Why am I neutral? I was going to over the summer do some stuff like that, but it just didn't end up happening. I just didn't have time. Railfanning, I enjoy it, but I'm too restless. I just can't sit around like waiting for trains. Like if I know a train is gonna come, I'll railfan it. That's why I was always like railfanning like the Catskill Mountain Railroad. Aside from that being, you know, my favorite like branch line. You know when the trains are operating. You know how long it takes for a train to get from one place to another. So it's kind of easy to get into a good photographic spot and shoot, but. You know, I've definitely gone railfanning to, you know, the CSX main line and waited like 2 or 3 hours and saw nothing. And that gets kind of irritating to me because I feel like could be doing, you know, just about anything else. So, I mean, I like it. Normally if I go out railfanning like locally around here, I usually go over to Goodman Yard. Because usually when you're at a rail yard, you're almost guaranteed to see something. So... that's kind of typically what I end up doing. But I enjoy it. I don't want to say like or sound like I need like the sure thing, but when it comes to railfanning, I kind of need a sure thing because it's too, it can just take forever. And then I always have the luck of like sitting around waiting for a train for hours and hours, nothing shows up, and then 5 minutes after I leave, you know, something amazing happens. So, I don't know. Let's see, we might clip here. It's gonna be close. Close, oh, we're good, we're good. We good. Yeah, this whole area could use a little bit of updating too, but look at this truck over here. It has like one-dimensional wheels, 1D wheels. That is so old. I need to replace that so badly. later, Don Conklin. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. I'm gonna go to bed early myself. Daylight savings, man. I usually do better in the fall with the fall daylight savings. And, but this year, I went to bed early last night, but I also woke up at like 4:30 this morning. For really no reason, just wide awake at 4:30 a.m. Which was fine. I got a whole lot of work done on Friday's video, so that's okay. But man, that's tough to do. So I almost didn't stream tonight because I was like, I'm kind of tired and we want to go to bed early. But you know what? This is more fun. Are we in neutral? Yeah. We want to go. We need to go in reverse. You know what? I got to change the train direction. That's what I got to do. That's what's screwing me up here. Because this is the lead engine, but we need to make this guy the lead engine. All right, there we go. And I think he has a better horn. Yeah, that's got a real horn too, which is nice. Alright, so next we will switch in the hoppers. I like the bell on this guy too. Something needs to happen with these gates too, like in terms of how they're activated. Like the TRC stuff is really great. I mean, honestly, like a game changer for somebody like me. But like we need like a system that's a little bit more reliable than this. Oh, I'm gonna slam into that. Some texting. It's fine. I just gotta respond to this text message 1 second. Of course, since it's my birthday, everybody wants to text message me, and I can't leave them hanging for too long. Gondolas are next. Let's maybe I could do no, because I need to pull the I was gonna say maybe I could switch out Eureka Spur. Come on, go into the throttle thing. But I need to can't do that yet. We gotta pull the empties out of there. Just wanted to pull up the pull these box cars up a little bit so I might have to use this Y, so I wanted to make sure that was clear. But yeah, what I was saying about the crossings, TRC is great. It's so much better than Atlas or ATLS. I like saying Atlas, but it's just not quite very reliable, and I don't know if that's a scripting issue with the way that particular script is written. Or if that's an issue that, is going to be ongoing. We'll get these guys over there. Getting late in the day. 14:14. See, the sun is starting to change. I think we're gonna be just skating out of here, like right at dusk. Wonder what's gonna happen with these gates this time. Atlas is good for if you need to like trigger, you know, other like traffic stoppers or traffic lights and that sort of thing. I think they're really good for that. I don't think TRC can do that just yet, but I think a combination of the two is kind of the sweet spot. You know, using Atlas for certain things and then using TRC for other things. I don't know which is best for which. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't see why you couldn't use some of the TRC type scripting to do Atlas stuff though. That's the other side of that is, like, you know, it's TRC is just acting as a trigger, so why can't you have it trigger, you know, other things that the Atlas does? Like your traffic lights or anything. It's just a different scripting system for how it's written, like in the game. I don't know. Half of this game is complaining about it. Yes, that is 100% true. If you're not complaining about Trainz, you're not really playing it. You're not getting the full experience if you don't have something to complain about it. See, coming in kind of hot on this one. I mean, I don't really know because, like I said, I don't know how assets are made. Like, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes really with asset creation in terms of scripting and, you know, animating. Like, I don't even know how you animate something for like crossing gates to go up and down. But, you know, I'm sure if somebody is really good at coding, that it probably has something to do with that. But I'm also willing to bet that the scripting is probably really dated in this game. I'd be willing to bet that it's probably based on some old coding system that's not really used anymore. And then we're gonna go to Eureka and grab the boxcars there. If you're looking to get the game, there's a link in the description for the to get the game. You can use to get it. Direct link right to the Trainz store. Direct link right to heaven. It's a love-hate relationship with this game, I think. It's love to hate it. I think it's just the most frustrating thing sometimes is that as people who play the game, we see a lot of potential, and then the developers don't really seem to care. So I think that's really where the main sort of frustration comes in. At least with me, sometimes it's just like glaringly obvious things that are sort of impeding actual gameplay that just completely get pushed to the wayside for absolutely no reason. These gates still down? They're still down. I wonder why they don't go back up. Like, even after switching the track. Just doesn't seem to like that. We're gonna go up here and pull these box cars. Where did I get the horn for the GP7? I didn't make it, so I did not make the engine, so this was made for me, so whoever, I think it was Where's Prada made it, so wherever he got it from. These gates aren't working either. Man, what a pain. Anthony Pecoraro, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Let's see, I don't know. I'm streaming for 1 hour and 44 minutes. I was hoping to be able to do this whole thing, switch this whole town out, but I guess we'll keep going. I don't need to stop just yet. Zeb, what's up, dude? Thank you very much. Good to see you. I'm guessing that maybe it's something updated either in the game or in one of the TRC scripts or something like that that maybe screwed something up. Now they're going off. So close. Not close enough. Let's throw the switch. The thing is, if the next version of Trainz came out without any backwards compatibility, there would be no content for it. There would be zero. That's the problem, and N3B knows that. So without reverse compatibility, they wouldn't have anything. All right, so let's see. We're gonna back up here. So I think what we might do is just head back to Juniata with a train full of the cars that we did switch out instead of doing the whole thing. And we will say that our time on the clock has run out. And we gotta get back. Because I have it built, I have the session built where it's kind of stupid, but you could leave here without switching any cars, but whatever. I didn't want to add like a consist check rule or something like that to the script, to the session, because I just didn't want to have to do that. It doesn't make sense. Figure out where I'm gonna put this train. I guess we're gonna have to go over here. We're gonna have to go to the Y. just gonna build our train with what we switched, and then we'll tie down the rest for the next crew to come through and switch out.
Question.
I guess I could just put it back. Yeah, I could put it back. Tricky. The whole idea that you can't use this yard over here is what makes this really difficult. Although I did see somebody posted, I don't remember if it was on the forums or if it was on my Discord, took their entire train all the way down to Iron City, like the whole train, and switched it down there, used the runaround down there, which is not a bad idea. I have not done that yet. John Riso, what's up, dude? So we're gonna grab the caboose at the same time. So let's see. So those are empties that got to come back with us. So I could just... How can I do this now? Because this is going to be our outbound train here. Let's see. Well, if we back out... Ah, I got it. So we'll do this. We're gonna reverse out of here. I don't know if I'm facing the right way. No, I'm not. So we're gonna put our caboose on the rear. No, I'm in neutral again. We're gonna put the caboose on the rear of our outbound train, and we're going to leave with our boxcars coupled onto us, and we'll just couple up to the train and pull out. I think we should be good to go. Screw that up. We got spam blowing up in the chat there. Yes, we could randomly start kicking cars around. That'd be the next best thing, I guess. So what we're gonna do though is we're gonna slap our caboose on the back here. Brandon Kirk, what's up, dude? You are very welcome for the Rochester picks anytime, man. I got more coming your way. I just got to process them. They're on my camera still. Actually, they're sitting in Lightroom. Keep going here. I don't know, mods. Dare we give out the Discord link right now? You tell me. You've been watching the chat. Closer than I have. Alright, so we should still have some room here. Come back up. So I'm just trying to wrap up this session. I'm not going to complete the whole thing, all the switching, unfortunately, but I'm going to try to get us back to Juniata before I decide to close it out for the night. I'm not worried about the Discord policy. It's not my job to police what people, how old people are. Am I supposed to interview every single person on my channel and ask them what their age and gender and, you know, ethnicity is? I'm not worried about it. It's not my job. Oh, wait a minute. We have a whole train in our way here. Because if I go around the Y again, I'm going to be backwards. I didn't think of that. I'm going to be boxcars first. Oh, you know what? We could just put the... Let's do this. We'll just put the... We're going to put... Because these boxcars still need to be switched. So the next crew is going to switch them out. We'll put them on the Y. So that way the next crew who comes in has some tracks available for them to actually pull in. Get a little dicey when you're trying to do some switching out here, that's for sure. I feel like every time I've switched out here, I always end up switching into the night. Oh, that's gonna be a hard hit. I would cut them off where they are, but the problem is that I need to be able to couple to my train up here. And these two cars are coming back with us to Juniata. So I'm going to put this cut of cars just right on the leg of the Y and leave it there. So then we can actually couple to our outbound train. Next crew will be good to go. Come in here and do their thing. We still have a couple cars that we have to pick up on the way back to Juniata as well. Like they're built into the session that we can't skip them. Alright, here we go. We can just cut these guys off here. Thought this was going to be the Dry Brook. We started with the Dry Brook for a little bit, and then I decided that I didn't really want to build tonight because I still have to finish off Friday's episode, so I wanted to run some trains. I don't ever really get to run any trains, so it'll be kind of fun to just hang out, do a little switching, run one of these sessions that I made for the P&B payware pack. Catherine Mobley, I believe this is probably Andrew. What's up? Welcome. Alright, now we can just couple up to these hoppers and we can shoot out of here. Yep, this is one of the sessions for the pack. This is the most difficult one, in my opinion, out of all 3 or 4 of them that I made. This one definitely takes a considerable amount of thinking, and I made this session, and I'm even sitting here having a hard time switching it out. So it is quite the puzzle. There's no doubt about that. So we actually ended up not switching several industries. We didn't switch the loads into Eureka. We didn't switch out the empties or the loads into Glossers. And we didn't pull the empties from Iron City. But, I mean, this is just me, like, I've been streaming for 2 hours now. So I want to just start wrapping it up. That's just me, like, kind of trying to tie it up. People enjoy seeing my face. They like to know who I am. And I'm not just hiding behind the computer screen. Alright, back to Juniata. Actually, once we head out of here, we're supposed to pick up a couple more freight cars at the farm. That's a cool angle. I like that. Build the pigeons. Look at them go. Man, I remember this was like one of my early builds too, Vonny. I want to say this was like the 4th or 5th video. Maybe even earlier than that. I can't remember. What computer do I use? So, yeah, so the specs are in the description. I custom built my computer about 1.5 years ago. I'm trying to remember what the motherboard is. I can't remember what the motherboard is off the top of my head, but it's a Core i7-7700K. It runs at like 4.45 gigahertz, 4.5 gigahertz, depending on how cold it is. I've got a liquid cooler in it, 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, a GTX 1080 Ti graphics card. It's a MSI brand. Let's see what else. I have 3 SSD drives. One of them I use specifically for Trainz. Just has the install for Trainz, a New Era, and Trainz 19 on it, and the content. And that's it. I've got nothing else on it. I have another SSD that I use for my video recording, so I record onto that, and I do my editing off of it, and then once I'm done with the edit, I remove the files from the SSD, put them onto a regular spinny disk hard drive. And then I have a couple regular hard disk drives in there. I got 2 of them. I think one of them is 2 terabytes, one of them is 1 terabyte. I use those for games and software and storage, just kind of like a backlog of all my old stuff. And I have an external hard drive that I have hooked up to for other backups. I have way too many hard drives. It's just kind of annoying. But, you know, you got to have your files backed up and then have your backups backed up and that sort of thing. What are the destinations for the freight in this contest? That is an excellent question. So what do we have here? I'm not sure if these boxcars are loaded or unloaded. I think these are all empty, and I believe these are empty. Right, yeah, so that's empty. So I'm pretty sure everything is empty except for these gondolas. So the gondolas can either go to Allegheny Steel and be switched into the Allegheny plant to be recycled, or they can be put into a interchange train at Juniata. The empty boxcars have multiple places that they can go to. There's a couple. There would be more empty boxcars, but we obviously didn't complete all of our switching. The other empty boxcars could be switched around Juniata. There's a couple general goods facilities there. And from there, those boxcars could be forwarded to Mill Creek, Allegheny, and a couple other businesses in between that take general goods. The hopper cars, these empty ones will go to... they would go to Grafton, which is not modeled at this point, but Grafton would be the destination for them where they would be loaded with grain. I'm trying to think, I think there's another destination. Oh, they're right between Allegheny and Juniata. There's a grain depot, so you can drop those off there to be loaded with grain, and then ship wherever else you want to ship them off to. What is the P&B roster? What's up, Andrew? P&B roster, we've got GP7s, GP9s. We've got an S4, a B23-7, and the BW11, which is that little center cab switcher, and 2 different RS27s and 2 different schemes. 2 different paint schemes. I'd like to add some more. There's definitely plans to do some more, but right now that's where we stand. I'm definitely gonna way overrun this siding here. Oh, it's gonna be close. I gotta pick up these cars here, and I have to pick these up in order to actually proceed with the session at all, because it's in a sequence. Freeware P&B Loco, right now there's none. I gotta talk to JR about whipping one up, but they're, Mike or Justin, are a little difficult to get a hold of sometimes, so I don't really know what would be the right Loco to skin up, and I don't want to just like start skinning one up, assuming that it's gonna be that I can release it for free when they're not into that idea. So I would like to get a freeware like 1 or 2 out at least, because not everybody can afford the pack, and I guess it would be a little bit of an incentive for people to buy the pack. If you want to skin up your own steam engines to run yourself, I have no problem with that. You can do whatever you want, as long as you're having fun with the map. Still on the... So I don't really know what other engines I would like to add. Obviously, I'm a big old EMD and Alco fan, so those would probably be my first choices. I would like to add some more just general switchers. So that's a possibility. We were talking earlier about having maybe like a modern pack some present day locomotives and stuff. So that might be kind of cool. Different projects in the future. Time's it in game? 3:15 in the afternoon. Let's get late in the game. Yeah, that coupler glitch is kind of annoying. I like how N3V said that they fixed it in the SP3 patch, but it's definitely not. Definitely speeding here too, but I'm okay with that. Whoops. But yeah, there's definitely plans for more engines in the future, but I mean, at this point, like, literally I could probably put the P&B skin on anything that exists and it would probably look okay. But it's just a matter of like what I want to actually have on the railroad. I mean, what I originally pictured was just a lot of old EMDs and Alcos. So that was my original intention, but as the route grew and you know, I got feedback from all you guys and stuff like that, and things kind of changed, and I got interested in other locomotives, and, you know, whatever. It's history. This is another really great area. I think it's like detailed just enough. Sometimes I feel like I go a little too overboard with like grasses and shrubs and stuff like that. This was just like a couple little bits here and there. Definitely did the job. Alright, so what I'm going to do... Well, maybe I'll... I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to say I might not go all the way back to Juniata, but at this point I might as well. Every time I do a stream, it's like in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have enough time to like do this amount of stuff, and I'll end it, you know, after about 2 hours or whatever, and I'll get it all done, and then I get going, and then I'm like in the groove or whatever. I'm like, you know what? Let me just keep going a little bit longer. We're almost done. Like I was saying earlier, like I'm pretty interested in doing like some city skylines stuff too. I'm kind of interested to see like what kind of things I could whip up there, just because I like doing these big cities. I don't want to say like a big cityscape, but I like doing these really broad scenes, expansive scenes, I guess you could say. And it's kind of hard to do that in Trainz just because of the amount of assets that we have and some of the limitations of the game in terms of like, I don't know, frame rates and that sort of thing. But I want to do like a really railroady city skylines build, like really heavy, like railroad industrial, downtown and industrial type stuff, big freight yards and big industries, and to be switched out with like dozens of tracks and stuff like that. Because I feel like maybe in that game, maybe I'm wrong just because I don't play it, And that might be a little bit more attainable to get like a huge scale, you know, freight yard built with all these switch tracks and industries all over the place, rather than doing it in this game, just because when you're playing Trainz, you have to like do all the landscaping and the terraforming and the ground texturing and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like with cities, like you can kind of just focus on building the city, you know. But I don't know, I'm also really, really scared that if I start putting that on my channel, I might shoot myself in the foot, you know. But I think that there's a lot of crossover between cities and Trainz. You know, there's a couple city skylines. Squigglehausen was here earlier. He's a city skylines guy. So there's some crossover. There's some city skylines guys that are out there who watch me, and I watch city skylines players, and you know, there's definitely a gray, I don't want to say gray area, but there's a transition area between the two games for sure. Snoot noses, yeah, they would be pretty cool. Are there any good snooty engines out there? Does anybody have any? I don't even know who, if there's anything out there. Sure the city's audience would like tame builds and vice versa. Yeah, that's what I think. I think that there's definitely some room for some crossover there. But I could be wrong. I could pick up City Skylines and just totally, you know, flop. Our mods, they've got snoots, huh? JR has some? I haven't run cities in so long that I don't even know what the stress would be on my computer, but I'd be interested in finding out. Benchmarking it, seeing how it goes. Squigglehausen's got some points there. Should be able to run pretty well on my machine. Just building some scenes instead of like a huge, massive Petropolis. Yeah, I'm not building something. I don't think I would ever try to build something like what Flux is doing with his Avalon series. I think that that's just mind-blowing. I don't even know how he manages that, but just something simple, like even like the D-Bev, you know, doing something with a medium-sized cityscape or something along those lines would be pretty cool. See, Trainz seems to be eating up my CPU much more than my GPU. It really, really puts a strain on my CPU. I don't want to say a strain, but like, it's definitely... It puts a lot of pressure on my CPU, more than the GPU. looks pretty decent this time of day. It's not bad. 15:36. I gotta remember that. I usually try to shoot my cinematics like not in the afternoon sunshine, like midday. I mean, like you want to shoot like later in the day when the sun is a little bit more angular. It's pretty nice. Trying to decide if I should just wrap up this stream at this red signal up here, or if I should just go back up to Juniata. So I think I have to wait at the red. There's a red signal up here. I think there's a train coming the other way. Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna pull up. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Keep going. Yeah, all right. I'll take it up to Junior. Catch you later, Samuel Borderstein. Borderson. Thanks for hanging out. Mess up your name. Sorry about that. I also might just run through this light, which is also a very distinct possibility. I'm very bad at stopping trains. So I think it takes a second, and then it should switch this track because it's locked. I can't manually change it. Should switch the track, then we get a green light. Highball to, there we go, to Juniata. Now let's see if we can actually start. Might just be stuck. Give it some sand. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what I was thinking having this originally set up to just be the one GP7 or GP9, I can't remember what it was. Definitely needed two, maybe even three. Going upgrade, yeah, we're going up a little bit of a grade. This looks like it's flattening out. Never noticed the dirt on the windshield. That's kind of that's a neat touch. Because I don't usually operate from within the cab, so it's something I would totally miss. Pennsylvania and Berwind, man. I mean, it's all fictional, so it's just loosely based on Pennsylvania. Mid-Atlantic region, I guess, as they call it. Yeah, look up Windburg, Pennsylvania. We're going up grade now. We're still at 0% grade, and this train is just having a hard time. I thought there was a grade in here, but maybe not. I remember when I laid this out, I wasn't very good at grading, so I kind of said forget it for the most part. More model railroads. Yeah, I would like to do more of those as well. Again, they're kind of easy to, not easy to do, but they're easier to do than a whole route. They come with their own set of difficulties, but I do enjoy doing those. I would like to do more. There's a lot of, like, I get like an issue of model railroader, and I'm like, man, this would be a cool model to build in the game, but I mean, I just don't know how much of that I can do before, you know, one day Colin Bach calls me up and says, hey, stop doing that, we're gonna sue you, or something like that, you know? So maybe it's a non-issue, really. But yeah, model railroads are pretty cool. I think the dig hole issue needs to be solved as well in order to do that, which you would think that N3V would have solved that issue since they released a full standalone game called Trainz Model Railroads, but I guess that was not a big deal for them. There's just a lot of stuff that I would love to build in this game, and it's really, really time consuming to build something that looks good and functions well. Train is clear to arrive on track 4. By switches within the yard limits are manual. Goose in the caboose, what up, dude? How come I stopped using CSX on the P&B? Because I came up with the P&B paint scheme, and the rest is history. Yeah, I mean, I liked running the CSX stuff, but once I had like an appropriate paint scheme, then that was the ticket right there, you know. That was the way to go. It still looks good on this route, though. I mean, if you don't buy the pack with the P&B locomotives and stuff, CSX looks great on here. Gondolas are from Jointed Rail. They're just the gondola packs. I think there's like 3 of them on there, three packs. You want to hear "Save My Soul" at the end? I don't know if I have that in this playlist. Maybe I can. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in the playlist, though. We gotta slow down like a lot. Go switch the tracks ahead of me. Remember what tracks I'm supposed to go on. This one was automatically set. It's a remote switch. We need to go to this one. Yeah. I keep trying to use the camera buttons on the rail driver, and they're not configured. to slow down substantially. I'm reading the chat and I'm gonna fly into this yard ladder at like 25 miles an hour. Oh, I missed the switch. That's not good. Does this train have emergency brakes? Uh-oh. Oops. The engines are smoking pretty good. It's kind of funny watching the chat and my little preview stream because I've got like a 30-second or a 1-minute delay, so I can kind of laugh at you guys trying to warn me, but by the time I see it, it's already happened. Realistic derailments when? Who's gonna say it? I know that's gonna pop up in chat. Somebody's gonna say it. Turn physics simulation off. Okay, I will do that next time. Look, I never said I was a good engineer or anything, you know, like that. This is just purely for entertainment purposes, and it seems that I'm serving my job as an entertainer at this point. Come on. Sean, that's brake dust. That's from the emergency brakes. That's, you know, this game is just, you know. I thought physics was, like, you know, you wanted that on. And also, the engine is probably on fire. I mean, I just crashed it into a bunch of coal hoppers. So I don't remember what happens after this. I don't know if I might take the train back to the engine, the yard office. I'm not sure. Are we clear down here? No, we're not. Hey, I've got the face cam on. You guys know I'm not drinking. I guess you don't know what was in this cup, but... not drinking and driving a train, that's for sure. That's why we do the face cam. Turn your loco to track 1 to complete the session. Sweet. See, look at all the smoke coming out of here. This engine is toast. It's just toast. That's what happens when you collide. You know, the police are coming and everything. Ridiculous. Oh yeah, the session junction thing, yeah. Turn off that milk, it's driving me nuts. The train is fine, guys. We're not gonna worry about. Let's not worry about it. I'm not even paying attention to what's happening in front of me, so we might derail still. Still a chance I could screw this all up. You know, we didn't finish our job, our work in Vonny, so now we're going back early, and we didn't finish all of our switching. We crashed our train on the way back. It's awful. Decide to do that. It's an annoying spot. Oh, well, for those who are asking, here's a couple other engines that are in the fleet. GP38-2s. That was the other one that I forgot to mention. There's a RS-27. Shove the rest of the engines over until I hit the waypoint. Yeah, alright, I'll do that. It's a good idea. I always get really framey in here, and I think it has to do with the volume of track. I wish there was a way to, I don't know, fix that somehow. I think it's just the amount of track that's through here. I think the same thing kind of, it actually doesn't happen as bad in Allegheny. For some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's a certain... Maybe it's this specific track, because I don't think this is the same track that I used out there. See how stuttery that is? Maybe that's not showing up so well in the stream. Kind of weird. Only when I face this way. If I face this way, then it kind of clears up. See, look at all these people waiting to go out to Allegheny, and I just totally forgot about them. Completely forgot to put in a passenger station to take them to. It's too bad. I'm gonna do this gently, I swear. I'm not gonna mess this up. see, do I have to go all the way over this thing? I wonder if I have to get the engines that I'm in to get onto it. There we go. Great work today. Thanks. Definitely nothing bad happened. We didn't, you know, forget to switch out a whole bunch of cars out in Vonny or crash our train on the way back or speed or nearly run any stoplights or crossings or anything like that. All right, so let's go to edit session here and I'll tell you what that rule is and then we're going to wrap this up. Legs are getting stiff. All right, let's see. Edit session. It is set helper icon size. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that on your screen, but it says scale junction lever arrows to be 50% smaller than default. So I set it at 50%, so you can go even smaller with them if you wanted to, I guess. But yep, that's the rule. Set helper icon size. So hopefully you can find that useful for your own session building sort of thing. But that's going to do it for today's live stream, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, having fun with me, watching me crash some trains and run some traffic lights and signals and bad things like that, and hanging out with me on my birthday. It's been a lot of fun. Next time I do a stream, we'll hopefully be doing some work on the Dry Brook or something like that. But stay tuned for those sorts of things. If you're interested in supporting me, you can go over to my Patreon and drop a couple dollars there. Let me give you guys the Discord link as well. That's going to pop up in the chat probably before you'll see it before you hear me say it. So that's the last thing here. What do I do here? I always forget how to do this. Link expires in 1 day. Okay. Here we go. Here comes the link. You're going to see it before. So there you go, mods. Good luck dealing with the influx of people. But that's it. All right. So thanks again for joining me. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night, everybody.